All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this lesson. So back in the previous unit, we did multiplying. And remember, we did the box. And so we ended up, drawing out these lots of boxes. And we had, we put like x minus 7 on the top and x plus 7 on the bottom, right? And we multiplied, so we got x squared minus 7x plus 7x and minus 49. So really what ended up happening was across my diagonal, I ended up with no x term. So I'm left with an x squared minus 49. So the simplified form or standard form for a polynomial is this, x squared minus 49. The factored form is the one with the parentheses in it. So what do you think, like just kind of seeing this pattern here of, okay, I was able to do the square root, right, of 49 and put one of them at the end and one of them in the beginning, how do you think I could factor something that was a little bit different, that was still a perfect square, but an x squared minus 9, right? Well, I would take, these were the square roots, right, this was the square root of 49 is 7. So when I do x squared minus 9, this actually would be x minus 3 because that's the square root of 9 and x plus 3. So we have what's called a difference of squares. So anytime I have two numbers that are squared, they factor to a plus b times a minus b. Or I could have done a minus b first. So the a minus b term can come first. Okay. So if I did x squared minus 9 already, so that's x minus 3 and x plus 3. Square root of 1 is itself, which is 1. So this is x plus 1, x minus 1. And it doesn't make any difference whether or not you put the positive one first or the negative one first. Okay, square root of 25 is 5. So that's a 5x and a 5x. And then the square root of 16 is 4. So this is minus 4 and plus 4. Okay, so that's how we factor what we call a difference of squares. So a difference of squares has no middle term. So this has no x term in the equation. So now remember back in the last unit we did multiplying things that were a little bit different, right? So we did x minus 3 and x plus 5. So I have x squared minus 3x plus 5x minus 15. So I ended up with x squared plus 5x minus 3x minus 15. Okay, so what ended up happening is we ended up with a factor by grouping situation, essentially here. So I ended up here with a x squared plus 2x minus 15. But if I were to, rewrite this, what I would end up doing is if I want to go backwards and get to my factored form, I would take my original equation, I would split it up, and then I would be back to what my original function is. And so there's a lot of different ways of factoring. What we're going to do is we're going to show you how to do the diamond method. But essentially, I can look at factoring as an extension of factor by grouping. So let me show you how what we're going to do right now relates to what we just did. And then I'm going to show you the diamond method. And then hopefully they kind of connect. Okay, so if I were to do this equation here, I first would need to find, what you notice is that in my first example here, my 5x and my negative 3x, 5 and 3 are factors of 15. So I'm going to find factors of 3, which are 1 and 3. And then I have to make a negative 2x here. So that would be an x squared. And then I have to do something with a 1x, right? And something with a 3x and then a minus 3. Well, okay, how do I get negative 2 in the middle here? I'd have to have a minus, right? A minus, a minus 3x and a plus 1x to give me a negative 2x in the middle. Okay, so now I have x squared plus x minus 3x minus 3. And I could go back to a factor by grouping situation and factor out an x. I'm left with an x plus 1. And then factor out a negative 3, and I'm left with an x plus 1. And then we're back to what we did in our previous lesson, which is I just used the eraser instead. What's in common between the two terms is an x plus 1. So I have x plus 1, and then I'm left with an x minus 3. And so that's how it connects to, the factor by grouping lesson that we just did. Now, we want you guys to be able to do factoring a little bit faster. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do what's called the diamond method. Okay, so I am, yes, going to ask you to write down a big X here. And what we do, so I'm going to first write out a big X. Okay, so here's a big X. And I'm going to put my C term, so that is my last term, which is 18, on the bottom. And then my B term, which is negative 9 on the top. Okay, and I want factors of 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6, that when I multiply them together, I get 18, but when I add them, I get negative 9. Well, so two numbers that multiply to give me positive 18 and add together to give me negative 9 are negative 3 and negative 6. So my factors are x minus 3 and x minus 6. And if I were to go about doing the box, right, I should be able to check my answer and get back to, didn't draw the line right. I should be able to get back to where I originally started. If I did the box, right, with my x minus 3 and my x minus 6, I should get back to where I originally started. So again, just like with distributive property, with greatest common factor, I could, use the box and get my answer, which in this case is negative 3 and negative 6. Okay, so let's do some more. Ooh, I got to put dinner in the oven. Okay, you guys have to come with me because I have to go to a Clovis East basketball game, and because that's what my daughters want to do, and we have to eat dinner first. So you have to come with me while I put dinner in the oven and attempt not to burn myself. Okay, I managed to not burn myself. All right, so back to our factoring here. So when I look at this, again, I'm going to put my C term, at the bottom. So that is my negative 14. And I put my B term on the top. So I need to find factors of 14. 1 and 14, 2 and 7. And what I want to do is I want two numbers again that multiply to give me negative 14, but add to give me 5. Okay, so that is a minus 2 and a plus 7. And then I write my factors, x minus 2 and x plus 7. And that is my answer. Ultimately, when you guys get to calculus, what my hope is that you guys can do this in your head. But for this class and for advanced math next year, so whatever your math class is next year, advanced math, IM3, whatever it may be, we are going to make you show the x's for right now. Okay? So again, negative 3 on top, negative 4 on bottom. Factors are 1 and 4, 2 and 2. So my two factors would be negative 4 and a positive 1. So I factor to x minus 4, x plus 1. Okay. More examples. These are not numbered correctly. That goes to 8, and then it goes back to 7. Okay. So, again, so weird. I will have to fix that for the future. So negative 4 and a positive 8. So 1 and 8, 2 and 4. Okay, so there are no factors of 8 that give me -4. So this is what we call prime. Okay. So if I don't have two numbers that multiply to give me 8, that add to give me -4, it does not work. Okay, so then I have 7 in the top and 6 in the bottom. So factors of 6, 1 and 6, 2 and 3. So my factors will be a positive 1 and a positive 6. So this is x plus 1 and x plus 6. And it doesn't matter whether or not the x plus 6 comes first or the x plus 1 comes first. Okay, and then let's see. So now, again, draw the x. And then I have -8 on top and 12 on the bottom. Factors of 12, 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. Okay, and you can stop once you get a factor that works. So I didn't need to write 3 and 4 because I know -2 and -6 work. So this gives me x minus 2 and x minus 6. Okay. And then factors of 40. And this is where you're going to have to know your divisibility rules because I'm going to require you guys to do this without a calculator. So I have 3, I have 40. So 1 and 40, 2 and 20, 3 doesn't work, 4 and 10, 5 and 8. So 5 and 8 work. It's a -40. I apologize. So this will be a positive 8 and a -5. So this is x plus 8 and x minus 5. Okay. And that's my answer there. So now, again, when I write my x here, I have a -6 on the top and a 9 on the bottom. So 1 and 9, 3 and 3. So a -3 and a -3. But because I have a y squared here, right? What I was doing with x squared is I was just putting the x here, right? And then I was just putting the number, -3. But because I have that y squared, I actually have to split up my y also. So this is -3y. Because I have two of the same parentheses, I can rewrite this as x minus 3y, the quantity squared. The question will be, do I expect you guys to do that? And yes, I do. Okay? And that is it for this lesson.